Latin friends. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe during the pandemic. My dog, you know. But what better thing to do during a pandemic than cook? So today we're going to be making an ancient Roman dish called Libum. It's pretty much like a Latin cheesecake, which involves just 3 basic ingredients, which are ricotta cheese, flour, and an egg. It's not supposed to be super sweet, but it's covered with honey at the end, which is supposed to give it that kind of dessert-like texture. But other than that, I think we're just gonna go straight to the video. So I have all our ingredients laid out here. It's not very much, like I said. This is organic honey. I got it at our local farmer's market. And then this is just all-purpose flour in our little flour container that we have at home. And just a little 15-ounce can of ricotta cheese from Walmart and an egg. So I think we're gonna get started. The recipe originally calls for 1.5 cups of ricotta cheese, a 1/4 cup of flour, and an egg. We don't actually know if the Romans used ricotta cheese though. I've seen other recipes call for brie and cottage cheese and any other sort of soft cheese to really mix in with the dough. As well as this, unlike in today's cheesecake, this cheesecake has no sugar in its recipe whatsoever. Honey instead is rather poured on top of the cheesecake at the end to still give it that sweetness of the dessert. And that's because a lot of Roman dessert actually used fresh berries and fruits and honeys to give it a more natural sweetness. As well as this, a lot of Roman households didn't have many kitchen utensils. They had maybe a singular pot and a pan and a few spatulas or forks. Unlike in today's kitchens where we have beaters and electrical mixers and all sorts of fancy knife and equipment. So to be making this cake, I'm also just using my Gudetama spatula and my mixing bowl to do it like a real Roman. So let's get mixing.
This mad world that made me crazy. Might just turn around to 180. I ain't politicking, I ain't kissing no babies. The devil on my doorstep being so shady. Don't trip. We don't gotta let him in. Don't trip. Yeah. I let it go, but I never go.
So this is the final product of the dough. I actually had to add more flour than what was originally cited in the recipe, but looking at a review, I also saw that another person said they had to add more flour, so I don't think it's a problem because we wanted to get to this kind of more dough-like consistency so that now we can actually start forming the cake. All right. Okay, so in order to make the actual cheesecakes, we're supposed to take parts of the dough and roll it around in the flour and then place it on the tray. And it also says that the recipe calls for bay leaves, fresh bay leaves to be placed under the cakes, but I couldn't find any bay leaves anywhere, so I'm just going to substitute them. Actually, I'm just not using them at all. So instead, we're gonna go preheat the oven to 375 and then start making the cakes. So these are the resulting cakes. That was a lot harder than I expected. They started falling apart a little bit after they got into the flour, and they were a lot softer than I was expecting. They don't look that great, but we're ready to put them into the oven, so.
Devil on my doorstep being so shady. Don't trip. We don't gotta let him in. Don't trip. Yeah.
Okay, so I just took them out of the oven. They're interesting. We're just gonna wait for them to cool down a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and try some. Okay, so I think we're ready to start taste testing. This is my final product. If you can see it, it's still, I don't know, it has a really weird texture to it. I already heated up some honey to pour on top of it, and I have a glass of milk. I'm gonna try some at first without any honey on it to see how it tastes, and then we'll add the honey. Okay. I mean, it's not bad. It just kind of tastes like nothing, I guess. Like, it doesn't really have a taste to it. I can still kind of taste our cottage cheese. It's soft. It kind of just tastes like no flavor bread. So yeah, but we'll add the honey and I guess we'll determine from there. That was a lot, but that's okay. Cheers. Okay, see, with honey I get it now. With honey, I think it tastes, it tastes a lot better. It doesn't taste like cheesecake like we have, but it's definitely like a lot sweeter now, and it has like a kind of sweet bready texture. I guess it kind of reminds me of bread pudding. I don't know how else to describe it, but other than that, it's not awful. But I think I'll stick with the American cheesecake. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you can try this recipe sometime. Maybe not. That's cool. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see y'all in class.
Don't be afraid, don't fall in.